Welcome to the Growth Plus Exit podcast, where owners of privately held middle market companies talk about founding, scaling, and exiting their businesses successfully. Learn how to maximize and monetize your business on your own terms. Let's get started.
Hello, I'm Susan Kearney.
And I'm Heather Bennett.
We're your hosts for Growth Plus Exit, the podcast featuring middle market owners and experts talking about founding, scaling, and exiting businesses successfully.
Thanks for tuning into this special episode where we'll take a look back at some of our favorite moments from previous conversations.
It's brought to you by Newport LLC, a team of seasoned C-suite executives who help CEOs of privately held companies grow, de-risk, and exit their businesses successfully.
To work with us, visit newportllc.com. Now let's look back at some of our favorite moments from previous conversations.
I think it goes back to the leadership aspect is learn to find people who complement you. And that's overstated. People just, they hear, oh yeah, sure. But really, I think about learning to let go of things that you're not great at. And I will say there's a bit of a caution behind that, because a lot of times people will abdicate themselves and say, just here you go, you take care of it. You still need to be involved in that. I will say also, for example, we just hired a VP of marketing, and we've been focused on a rebrand with marketing for the last 2 years, and I've been leading that charge. It's been a bit painful, but I've learned a base level of knowledge. So then bringing in a VP of marketing, two things happen. I have a really good basic understanding of what we need. And then the second most important thing is what I value. And so what I mean by value is finding the right kind of person and the work that's it's involved for that. So it kind of goes back to in the past, I've had people work for me that have done a lot of work. And when they leave, and then I value what they did because I didn't really understand, because I abdicated myself in that relationship. So the longer that I'm around in business, I'm more aware of valuing people, what they are doing, and becoming more aware what is needed and required, and the level of depth that they have. And so I think that's really important, is valuing what a good leader or a good manager can do for you, and appreciating that.
So I think one is picking the right person. Because as in any kind of, business, people will have a range, but so do physicians and clinicians. And I can think of ones both in my career that I probably would choose not to partner with. And maybe it does come down to that mutual understanding and respect. So I think it's picking your partner where your visions of where it's going are really aligned in what needs to happen. And I can say for all 3 of the companies I've led, I really had that. I had a physician, clinician, partner or partners that we both saw the solution and respected each other's abilities to create that and bring that forward. And sometimes that doesn't happen. And sometimes it can be that failure can come from both sides. It can come both from business people that are like, it's about the money, it's about this, and it can come from a clinician standpoint, because there are many clinicians, I think, and physicians that sort of kind of distrust business or the financial aspects of it. So I think that it's finding the right people where you can really align on a vision, and don't go forward unless that's really solid, I think. Because there's always any kind of business. It's always a roller coaster ride. There's always the things that you don't know are going to happen. And I think having transparency, shared vision, and shared values are really the critical things.
Learned a lot of hard lessons. I think one that stands out, though, is, you have to have again, it comes back to balance. It's like you have to have a vision for your business and where it's going. You also have to be able to communicate that and enlist people in the fight with you, while also like not taking it too seriously. It can't be. I think for me, at times in my career, and at times even with Talentcraft, like I have been so, I felt like progress, was a direct correlation to like how hard I was pushing on the business, or how hard I was working in it, or, how hard I was trying to kind of, drive it toward a certain outcome. And that I could directly impact that. When in the reality, I've seen it more often than not, like when you set a team toward a vision and gas them up and fire them up about it and get out of the way, that's when the better things happen at that point, right? Rather than trying to kind of lead toward it on your own. So I think when I was young, and still am, but like in the early innings of Talentcraft, I wish I would have understood that better than I did at the time, and that I think I've learned along the way.
I'm going to put most business leaders are going to be in this category, maybe even all, is that you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
That's called unconscious incompetence. Okay, there's a hierarchy of competence levels, and at the bottom of it is unconscious incompetence, which means you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, you're thrown at the whims of what's going to happen around you, unless you begin to move up the ladder of competency, which is now become consciously incompetent, which is I know I don't know about sales. Okay, I can feel it when I get into sales meetings. I'm not doing the right things. I'm not getting the outcomes, results. I've got to change something. Well, if you're consciously incompetent, as opposed to I just don't know what I'm going to do about sales, now you're going to start moving up the ladder to conscious competence, which is I'm now going to learn about it. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to read books. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to practice. I'm going to get in the gym of sales, and I'm going to do my reps. And if there was another tie, back to like this whole concept of understanding and running a business, it would be taking, it's a natural, there's brain science on this level of unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and then unconscious competence. That's guru level. You just do it naturally. Like once it becomes ingrained in the mind, you're going to do it naturally. I've seen that in myself, and I've seen that in almost every other business leader that's out there, especially in the concept of technology, which is part of the reason I wrote the book on TQ, or technology intelligence, was because the 90 to 95% of the business leaders that I've worked with over 45 years are unconsciously incompetent, or they're consciously incompetent. 90 to 95% of them are in that group.
We all learn lessons. Sometimes you learn things the hard way yourself. Sometimes you learn by observing. And I probably have 2 or 3, my guys would say 5 or 12 things that I constantly tell them. One of the things that's critically important to me is that I'm the same whether the door is open or the door is closed. I worked once for a leader who I won't name, and that person was completely different when the door was closed versus when the door was open. When the door was open, that leader, as I like to say, gave great talk, sounded really good, compelling, talked about things that mattered to people. When the door was closed and it was, the executive leadership team, not so much. And I find that to be sort of largely disrespectful. And I took exception the other day to a LinkedIn post that I saw about, the day of the nice boss is over because times are tough. An effective leader needs to do and be and say the same things when the door is open or when the door is closed, when times are easy and when times are tough. If you aren't consistent in your messaging and the things that you think about that people really need to know, right? I really want them to know what are the two things that if I'm in a jam, she would tell me to do, so I know I'm going to get it mostly right. The only way to do that is, one, to model it, and two, to be really clear in the way in which you talk about the things that matter. And you need to be fundamentally just a nice person. Yeah. Just be a decent, empathetic human being. I don't know everything, but I can tell you that my people aren't going to tell me stuff if they don't think I'm approachable, or they don't think I'm going to listen to whatever it is they have to tell me.
Thank you for listening to the Growth Plus Exit podcast, sponsored by Newport, a unique national business advisory firm. If you enjoy this show, be sure to share, like, and subscribe for future episodes.